All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do a mica epoxy cup. This is how I do it. So I went ahead and pre-mixed my epoxies with the mica powder. So I have these mica powders. You can't really see the color on them. This is like a green, and then the brand is Eye Candy. And then I have a black one I bought. This is my first time using this brand, but I do have another brand that I like to use. It's the, I just get it off Amazon. It's just this. That's all. And they come in these little bags, and a little goes a long way. So when I first got it, the bag was really small, and I was like, is that going to be enough? But it is enough. So I went ahead and I pre-mixed all the colors that I'm going to be using. So this is white paint, so I just use regular paint to mix it with. And then the Eye Candy. This one is dark ocean green, and this one is called Ninja Black. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to, I already pre-sprayed my tumbler. The base is going to be black. And in order to have the epoxy flow better on the cup, you just go ahead and put a thin layer of clear epoxy on it. So we'll go ahead and add that on. And just a thin layer just to help it, I guess, spread a little more when you put it on. So it doesn't have to be like perfect. It's just to give it a base. And then I'll probably use my heat gun, kind of warm it up a little bit. Okay, and then I'll just kind of go through it. My room is a little cold. I have the air conditioning was on all day, so the epoxy is not very, doesn't really run that well. Okay, so now that you have your thin layer of epoxy throughout your cup, again, we're going to do the mica powder. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to simply take any color you want to start with, and I'm going to take the dark green, and let's see, let me move that over, and you're just going to drizzle the epoxy all over the cup. I'm just going to drizzle it all over. It doesn't matter where, just all over. And as it spins, the color, the epoxy that has the color on it, will go spread out throughout the cup. So it's not going to stay in that space. Now for this cup, I'm making an Eagles cup, the football team, Philadelphia Eagles. So I want to have a lot of green showing. I love this method. It's just simple. You just put the color with the epoxy, you let it spin. After it spins, you add one more layer of epoxy if you want to, if you're adding a decal. Otherwise, if you are not going to add a decal, I still like to add another layer of epoxy, because that way it's laying flat. But for sure, if you put a decal, which I will be putting a decal on it, I already have a decal ready to go for that. It's just an Eagles one. Now I'm gonna take off my glove. So I'm gonna put this on it after. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this black. I know the base is already black, but I kind of wanted to give it a little more shine, and I wanted the black to mix in with that green. So, so I just put it wherever. I'm going to do another mica powder one, but instead of going from left to right, I want to try to go up and down and left to right, just to see like the designs for it. You can already see the colors mixing. All right, that looks good. I like that a lot. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of whites. So I'm going to take that white paint that I mixed, and I don't want a whole lot of white, but I am going to go ahead and add some in there. Thin, and I mean thin layers, because I don't really want a whole lot in there. Let's add. I really love this method. I know I already said that, but this is so fun. My aunt actually taught me this method on my beach tumbler that I made for myself with the paint. And I just kind of fell in love with it because I like, for one, it's easier than glitter. You don't have to go over so many times with the epoxy, so it's really, this is the layer of epoxy. And I just like how when it spins, it just go ahead and blends and spreads. It's just fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun to kind of spread the colors a little more. So I'm going to put them on high. I'm just going to go back and forth around the whole tumbler, and this is also popping the bubbles. You want to make sure you pop the bubbles. I heard a torch gun works really well for that as well. My aunt had suggested that, so I haven't tried that method yet, but I will give it a try. That looks really nice. So that just loosens up the epoxy and it makes it run. So now that the color is going to run, I'll go ahead and put it closer so you can see. Very nice. So we'll go ahead and leave that here. So I'm going to let this spin for probably 4 hours. Actually, not probably, I am. I'm going to let it spin for 4 hours. I'm going to add some more at the bottom right here. So this is going to spin for 4 hours, and then I'm going to turn it off, and it's going to sit for another 8. I just like to make sure that my tumblers are completely dry before I do anything with them. You notice there's tape at the bottom. The bottom, I taped it off because I wanted to keep it that silver at the bottom. I didn't want to cover the whole cup. So I wanted to leave the bottom silver, so I went ahead and taped it off. You're going to come back in 30 minutes. I'll have to come back and take this tape off. You cannot leave this tape on. If you leave it on, the epoxy will get stuck and probably rip the color on top of your cup where you need it to stay. So in 30 minutes I'll come back, I'll take the tape off, I'll let it finish spinning for that total 4 hours, and then I'll let it sit for another 8 hours, and then I'll come back and we will add the decal and the last layer of epoxy, and then it'll be finished. And that's it. Thank you.